All right. Well, welcome everyone. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties on my end, and apparently Zoom was not Zoom was not going for it. But it looks like we're all back in business, and yeah, things seem to be recording. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Very odd. Okay, excellent. All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is DES 242, Logo and Identity. And we are in our second session of our first week of our fifth mod. So hopefully everybody is doing good this, I should say this Tuesday. Nope, not Tuesday. This Wednesday. And yeah, welcome also to all of our video watchers. As usual, sorry that we don't have you here, but as usual, we will not forget you and make sure you feel extra welcome as well. Let's see, Princess says, can you take a look at my work? Oh yeah, for sure. Probably not, probably not right now, but well, definitely not right now, but probably this evening I can take a look, so for sure. All right, so let's jump into things, see what we have on the agenda for today. So you can see here we are going to start things off in a very exciting way by going on a field trip to the Independence University Library. Has anyone ever been to the IU library before is the big question. I know, oh, look at that. Okay, there's a couple yeses, a couple no's showing up in the chat box. I was going to say, I know for me, it's no, kind of indication of the library, but it always makes me kind of giggle to think about, a school that's fully online and then their library and, what does that look like? All that kind of stuff. But anyway, so we are going to go there. It's, it's no different than what does our classroom look like? Same thing. But so we're going to check it out, make sure that everybody's fairly clear on what's required for assessment one, and also just kind of see what's there. It's super cool, and the way assessment one is set up also, it's kind of almost more like kind of going somewhere and like reading magazines as opposed to doing anything that's super technical, academic, scary type thing. So hopefully we will adequately demystify it. Then we're going to go into InDesign, just do a little bit of an InDesign review, since assessment one does require the use of InDesign. So I just want to make sure that everybody's pretty clear on how it works. We're also going to create a master page together, so you could perhaps use that for your explorations. And then we are going to get into Logos 2.0, which is basically kind of the continuation of what we did in yesterday's session, as we began our logo redesign project for assignment one. So library field trip, assessment one, InDesign review, Logos 2.0, and yeah, should see us through for the next 2-ish hours. All right, so once again, everybody's favorite public service announcement. Design Club is tonight at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. So make sure you put it on your schedules. Sadly, if you're watching via video and it's and it's no longer Wednesday before 5 p.m., you probably will miss it. But the good news is that you will miss it this week. But there is another chance, week 3 of the mod. And as I am leading Design Club, I'm going to just inundate everyone with announcements, with updates. Definitely be there if you can. And if you can't, it's recorded so you can watch. And it should be good stuff. I will let you guys in on the topic, since you kind of got the insider information. We're going to talk about making friends in the design world, the benefits of kind of creating a network, networking, finding a mentor potentially, all those kind of things. And you guys will leave the session if you come, with a good start on how to kind of create a 50-word biography of yourself. And you will feel empowered to find people to be part of your design network, people to be your design friends, both somewhat geographically near to you, as well as globally through using the magic of the internet. So it should be good times. You can meet people, and yeah, I'm excited. If nothing else, you can come see my slides, which I'm super excited about. I learned a whole new skill in Illustrator as I was putting these together. So it's pretty. It's going to be pretty epic. Just leave it at that. All right. So Design Club, 5 p.m. Nick says 2 hours after class. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So 6 p.m. Central, which is the time zone I'm in, which I'm repeating to myself so I don't forget. And then 7 Eastern and 4 Pacific. So, mental math calculations. Okay, so just a couple kind of review bits of our learning objectives for this week. Thomas says, is it in Zoom? Yes. Yeah, as soon as we go over the learning objectives, we'll actually just take a peek at how you actually get there, so that everybody's kind of clear on that as well. So it's not in the Zoom, but it is in a Zoom. So for our learning objectives, we're going to define the impact of color, type, and composition within a logo. Then number 2, research and define 3 questions to reveal a unique logo and corporate identity strategy. Might be in the assessment. Number 3, identify and apply 5 techniques for logo redesign considerations. And number 4, analyze the relationship that exists between a logo and a corporate identity, which is, I think, discussion worthy in many ways. So color, type, composition, and a logo, logo redesign techniques, and what is a logo versus a corporate identity. All right, so we are going to take just a quick, this is the session of field trips. We're going to take just a quick field trip out of the screen share into where you all can find how to gain access to Design Club. And I will actually even put this in an email that I will send out, so you can have it via email as well. Okay, so when you log into your Canvas, you probably see something that looks a bit like this. At least you see something that should have a class, which would probably be this one for you guys, DES 242. And then something that perhaps says IUGA community. And so to get to Design Club, you want to first click on this. So I'm kind of curious, for you guys who are here in class, have you used the GA community? Are you aware of the GA community? Is this a thing, or is this kind of, you're like, wow, I didn't even know this existed? I was wondering what that tab was that showed up. Okay, Princess says I have, Nick says yes, Thomas says no. So basically the GA community, and I don't know why the little graphics aren't showing up. I think it's because I'm in Safari. Oh, there it is. I'm in Safari and it's about every 5th time nothing shows up. That's okay. So basically what the GA community is it's kind of like our dedicated quote unquote building on campus. It's kind of the place for us in graphic arts to hang out. So, it's where we have kind of discussions. It's where we have info on Adobe. It's where you can ask questions about anything. It's where you can connect with your FPA or your AD. So kind of whoever is like your faculty mentor through your time in the program. You can access lynda.com through here. There's resources, there's tutorials, general FAQs, all that kind of stuff. So it's basically like the home base for the graphic arts program. So a couple things just to kind of, since we're here, just to kind of go over. I don't think any of you have anything that's expiring soon in Adobe, but this is where you would upgrade your Adobe. So if you ever get that like, hey, your Adobe subscription is going to expire soon thing, this is kind of where you go to take care of that. And then for our purposes, you're going to navigate through here where it says GA Design Club. Click on it, and you will get the overview of Design Club. And most importantly, here is the link. So what you're going to do is just click on this link at around 5 p.m. Mountain Time, perhaps slightly before, but not too much before because I'm probably not going to have opened it. So yes, you just click on this. It's just like coming into a class session, and then the interface is pretty much identical. So if you'd like to watch any previous sessions, you can see Jeffrey Gold was in Mod 1, Pia Bergholz was in Mod 2, Sarah Moss was Mod 3, Carly Heath was Mod 4. I'm actually Mod 5. I switched with Christina, so the website hasn't switched yet, but we have switched, and so we're kind of going to be there. So it's pretty cool, kind of fun to see, here's 2016. Nice. What's been done, what you can learn, all that good stuff. Okay. So, I'm sorry, I'm just reading like, oh, wow, I didn't know we covered that. That's okay. So basically come to the IUGA community, and even if you can't come to Design Club, just come and check it out because there's lots of good stuff in here. And discussion forums, again, is something that's very active. Link to discussion forums. A whole bunch of stuff that people are talking about, checking out, building community, all that kind of thing. So super interesting. All right, so I will not I will not continue to read these because I get endlessly distracted. So I will say though, check it out, and it should be a good thing. And for sure, come for Design Club. All right, so let's switch back into our PDF and do just a little bit of review on a couple things that we covered yesterday. So I always feel like if you guys are anything like me, I don't tend to remember things very long. So kind of anything that happened even like this morning, I'm like, wait, when did that happen? So I think that review is always a very, very good thing so that we kind of stay sharp, keep ideas fresh in our minds, and make sure that, what we are taking the time intentionally to learn is really actually sinking in. It's not kind of going in one ear and out the other, so to speak. So we're always going to review quite a bit, and, just a good way to kind of check in with everybody. So first off, is a logo a brand? Nick says, we remember this, obviously. Exactly. So is the logo a brand? And is a logo. If you're watching via video, again, participate. You can engage your brain just as well, even if you're not, quite able to circle yes or no. So let's see, is a logo a brand? Yes or no? Lots of both circled. And yes. So what did we say that a logo was kind of like for a brand? Is it, is it like how the brand makes you feel as a consumer? Is it the product itself? What's kind of the relationship between a logo and a brand? Okay, so Nick says the logo is to a brand like a face is to a person. Exactly. And I think that Nick might have even been the one that originally came up with it. So it's great that that's there. But yes, I mean, the logo is kind of the most visible, presence, kind of the most visible example of a brand. But just as there's much more to us than, just whatever our faces happen to look like. on any given day. There's much more to a brand as well than just the logo that represents it. So is a logo a brand? Yes and no, bigger and part of it as well. All right, so oops, that's what happens if I don't clear the drawings. Okay, so we had 6 just kind of summary points for what makes a successful logo. So those were simplicity, unity, logical, consistent, and creative. So kind of what we came up with in yesterday's session is really that less is more when it comes to logo design. And you really need to think about how you can actually streamline and be consistent in what you're presenting so that you don't present kind of a confused front to your audience, to your consumers. So every element, which is what we're going to talk about today, every element must be very considered. It must have an intention as to why you're putting it there, why you're doing it, and it really must, be for clarity above all. So we played a game yesterday of interesting, but is it a logo? And so you always want to make sure that when you are thinking about a logo, your first thought is, how can I make something as simple and clear as possible? How many elements can I take away before this is while this is still recognizable? At what point do I take too much away? And then it kind of becomes, like essentially a line or a shape, which maybe even isn't a bad idea. So maybe a good thing as well. So simplicity rules. All right, so what is the first step in the logo design process? Again, a question that we checked out and considered yesterday. Is it make stuff or is it ask questions? What should you do? And even more, this is the whole design process. Okay, so it looks like everybody's feeling a pretty universal ask questions. And yes, you would be correct. So design is definitely making, but design is also thinking, even before you get to the making bit. So here's another question: to whom should the questions be directed? So should you be thinking about asking your client, or in this case, would probably be your instructor, since we use client a little bit loosely in the educational world. But yeah, so your client or yourself, looks like lots of clients, and that would be correct. And yes, and later B. So as soon as you get into the design process, as soon as you are actually making stuff, that's when you start being the question asker to yourself. As you say, self, why am I doing this? Why am I picking this font? Why am I picking this color? Is this a good idea? And as usual, if it's because I really like it, and that's as deep as it gets, probably not a good answer. So you really need to be kind of critical in checking up on yourself. All right, so moving right along, I would say use your brain, of course. We create things, we make things, we're visual people. That's wonderful and fabulous. But we really also need to be thinkers, because ultimately graphic design is kind of a visual medium that communicates a specific message from an audience, or from a client to an audience. And so we really need to be very smart in how we are taking something that's an action or a feeling or product or something like that, and kind of translating it into visual means, so that it really connects with our audience. All right, so one more thing, Design Club, 5 p.m. Every third slide will be this, just in case. That'd be so obnoxious. I think I would even get tired of myself, which probably will happen anyways. Okay, so great job reviewing. Hopefully if you're watching via video, you kind of feel like too the ideas are starting to take shape in your head. You're starting to build kind of a framework for what are logos, kind of how you can go into the creative process of creating them, and kind of what what might be involved, and what might happen. All right, so let's transition a little bit, and let's go to the library. Oops, let me find my window first. So let's get out of here and into our course. And get into the library through the assessment. So we all know how to do that as well, since it's slightly convoluted. Okay, so here is our assessment. So gauging logo redesign reactions. So far we've kind of been talking a lot about just logo design in general. And if you have been reading through the assignment and the assessment this week, you'll kind of see that everything is redesign as opposed to regular design. Basically, when you do a redesign on a logo, you're kind of following the same general principles, the same general steps as when you do a design from scratch. Kind of the only thing that's a little bit different is that you're not starting completely from ground zero. There is something that has been visualized already. But generally with a lot of redesigns, sometimes the client will say, I don't want any of this, which is basically what all of the clients have said for the first assignment. So kind of clear the slate, clear the palette, start again. So kind of you have the freedom with that. Sometimes, redesigns, as you will see in this, in these articles, get a little bit sticky because, they come into the redesign process with some things that they want to keep from their old logo. And so that gets a little tricky as far as kind of how you handle it. But overall, still the same general principles should apply for the design of any logo. So whether it's a first design or a redesign as well. So you see a little bit of a background. When a company undertakes a logo redesign, they must consider how to manage the audience's reactions to what is created. Consumers develop deep emotional ties to the look and feel of the company because feelings can run high when a company undertakes a logo redesign. The general public may or may not feel betrayed by the idea that something about the visual presentation has been changed. And this is such a crazy thing that people develop these very passionate feelings about the looks of certain logos. I don't know why it happens, but I will say for me, there's a couple ones where I'm like, never change that. And sometimes when, for whatever reason, logos get changed, I'm like, oh my gosh, why did they change that? It's a weird phenomenon, but definitely something to be aware of. So companies often must present a clear research strategy when they present their newly redesigned logos so that everyone understands the thinking and the reasoning behind the redesign. Often companies present answers around the following questions when showing their newly redesigned logos. And again, this is it's very important that companies develop kind of a broad statement as to why they redesign the logo, and then that the designer themselves gets to put some input as to why they made the choices that they made. A lot of times I feel like I've heard about logo redesigns that have been very considered, have taken a lot of time. The designers have worked very hard on them, and they get released and the public hates it, and the company thinks that this is too much bad publicity, and so they sway to the public opinion and they switch back to whatever they did before. And I think in some ways it's good to listen to your public. It's good to listen to kind of what people are saying about your company, but I think too there's also a lot of value in kind of seeing why designers made the choices that they did, and seeing kind of what the thinking is behind what they were going for, the choices that they made and such. So it's a very interesting topic. And I would encourage you guys that, since we're studying this week, and since this whole mod is kind of about logos and redesigns, you might want to just keep your ears open, see if any big companies will come out in the next couple of weeks. And, if we can see this practically roll out in the news. I feel like there's little chance of that happening, but we'll see, see what happens if anybody does a big redesign in the near future. But anyway, so things that are often presented when a new logo comes out is why was the logo redesigned? How does the new design represent new directions for the company? And then how does the new design still embrace the legacy the company has built upon? So how does it say, we are still reaching past, we're reaching into the past, we don't want to lose you, but we have a bright future ahead of us. So, come with us to that. Okay, so Nick says companies like Google redesign every 3rd millisecond. No one knows what to think. I think Google has decided, yes, that they will just redesign so quickly and so frequently that they'll always just keep people guessing. Although I will say they got a huge amount of heat when they did when they went from serif typeface to a sans serif, and just the new look of Google. I think that was big news for a little bit. So, and it might be something we find in the library. Who knows? Okay, so in this assessment, we will conduct library research to understand how companies have either successfully or unsuccessfully presented their newly redesigned logos to the general public. So first, click on the Independence University Library link in the homepage of this course. So this is where it gets a little dicey. So you click on here where it says homepage, and I don't know if you guys have gotten to this too, but I get to this page, and this might just be because I'm the instructor, but if you get to this page as well, just come down here where it says library links, and then you should be able to get to the library. Or if you don't see all of this craziness, because this is just because I'm the instructor, just find where the library link is. So you can hit it here. You can hit it off the home page, wherever you happen to find it. Okay, so once you find it, basically where we're going to want to go is to the ProQuest news stand. So ignore this big ProQuest database. We're not doing that one, but we are doing the newsstand. So again, kind of like we're gonna, browse magazines, browse newspapers, kind of fun. Okay, Nick says when I click on it, it says the page has been disabled for this course. Oops, that's not a good thing. Okay, so it is one of those internal things that's getting a little bit tricky. So how everybody should get there is come to the home page and come to library. Much easier. Okay, so there's one keyword that I'm going to make sure I say the right one for you guys, so we're searching the same thing. Okay, logo redesign, that's it. Okay, so ProQuest newsstand. So click on the library, click on the newsstand, wait a couple seconds. Okay, so here is ProQuest newsstand. And as I said before, basically this just allows you to search news and newspapers. So it's newspapers, it's periodicals like magazines. It's kind of just I feel like I don't even really know what's in here, but it has a lot of different things that accesses and pulls from. So you can kind of search for lots of different stuff. So you're going to type in logo redesign, redesign, and see what happens. And so you can see I got 13,136 results. Wow, lots and lots of them. And then what's kind of cool, I mean, this is just purely on a check out the site and see how it's designed kind of geeky level. But you can see what kind of where these search results are coming from. So wire feed, so that's kind of like the like Newswire, it's not been printed. The newspapers, so 7,000 wire feeds, 5,000 newspapers, 207 trade journals, 74 blogs, podcasts, websites, 61 magazines. See if there's any more options. No, that's if you want to change how you're searching. So if you want to see anything from any of these in particular, you just click on the source type and you can kind of look through. So kind of cool. Must be the universal sign for a blog is a little globe. And then we can always get rid of that as well. So it's just kind of, kind of fun. Just click around, check it out a little bit. Princess says, I chose Google. Nice. And then you can see publication date. So kind of when did these things come out? And then you can, look down through any of these if you'd like. Okay, so basically 13,000 results. And you all need to do 3, but we're going to get plugs are taking over the world, is what Nick says. Thus, the globe and the globe and the world have become synonymous. Okay, so choose 3 different articles to read and analyze for this assignment. So when you are looking for your articles, see what the title is. See kind of what jumps out at you. See what's kind of speaking your name, and don't just stay on the first page. Like, feel free to kind of click through, because we've got 13,000 results. So we can all look around quite a bit and see what might be there. One thing to take note of is you'll see at this, it's really good because you can see it in these first 2 examples. This first one says abstract/details, and then the second one says abstract/details and then full text. So choose ones that say full text, because if you don't choose one that says full text, it's just going to give you like a tiny snippet summary. So this is one that's just a tiny summary, and you're going to get to the bottom and be like, well, where's the rest of it? And it's not going to be there. So just take notes. Full text is what you want. So once you do that, let me do one that's on like page 5, so that we get into a slightly slightly further through stuff. Nick says, when you search, you can check a box for full text only. Yep. Yeah, which is probably actually much easier, but if you don't do that, then just take note of the full text. So once you have it, then, just click on something, and then you can see the article, and usually there will be kind of an abstract. And what the abstract is just a short summary of what the article is going to be about. And I chose this one because I love baseball. I'm a Cubs fan, but I do like the Blue Jays too. They're kind of they're my number 2. Okay, so here's the full text. So kind of read it and see what's going on. The great thing about most of these articles is you can see this is 499 words. So it's not super heavy. It's not super long. So it shouldn't take, that long to read, which is nice. It's very quick and newsy. So kind of read what's going on and see what they say about the logo, see perhaps why they redesigned it, reactions, that sort of thing. So check it out. So you're going to do that with 3 altogether. And then I would recommend, once you do that, once you get your articles, or kind of as you get them, you just go back and forth and you begin answering these questions. So I'm going to take this. So 4 questions. So why was the logo redesigned? What new direction does the logo represent? What was the general public reaction to the logo? Do you think it was a successful redesign? If so, why or not? If so, why? If not, what would you have done differently? So some of these, you might have to kind of guess. Just, what's the feeling you're getting from what's going on? See, Princess said, I did more research when I didn't answer a question outside of ProQuest. Is that okay? Yep, yeah, and actually that's perfect, because I was going to say, if you need to do slightly more research, like on Google, especially to find a before and after version of the logo, totally fine. Just kind of dig a little, see if you can come to some conclusions. So I'm just going to highlight these and copy, so Command C. And then what I would really recommend is, I do have Word. What I would really recommend is doing this first in a Word document and then taking it into InDesign, mostly because it's just easier, I think, to to type in Word, because you kind of know when you have like spelling and grammar errors and such. And so I would recommend you do this and then kind of copy and paste. So why was the logo redesigned? So type your answer. So you guys get it. I don't have to go quite step by step, since it will not be very exciting if you just watch me read and write. But yeah, so 150 words-ish for whatever you have for your responses, kind of something to shoot for. You'll see that just with pasting the questions in, I'm at 47, so like 120. So it doesn't have to be too much. So once you have your Word document all filled in with text and such, just make sure you're saving it. And this is for you don't have to turn this in, but just so that in case your computer crashes or something, you just have a copy of it. I feel like saving lots of times is always much better. Okay, and then finally, we're going to go into InDesign and create just a basic text layout for the presentation. And we're just going to kind of show you how to put the boxes in, probably essentially do a refresher for everybody. So you're going to go to the library, find your 3 articles, or find one, and then do your writing, do your overviews, and then go from there. So we're going to open up InDesign. Okay, well, while my InDesign is opening, we'll do one more thing. So it does say take a screenshot of a before and the after for each logo. And so this is, again, just so you can kind of give an overview as to what's kind of overarching happening before and after as well. Nick is very impressed that I use my Launchpad. I actually use the Launchpad all the time. It's my go-to application opener for sure. All right, so what we're going to do is just go to Google and get distracted momentarily by the Google Doodle, and then look at Blue Jays logo redesign. Oops. Sign. And let's do Toronto. Oh, Blue Jays logo history. Woohoo. Oh, look at this. Perfect. Okay. Let's see. Princess says, is it okay if it says before and after? Yep, yeah, before and after is great. Boy, look at how the logos change so much. That's wild. Huh. Okay. All right, so I'm going to guess that this was the before, and this is the after. I'll admit I didn't really read the article. I didn't scan the article quite that closely, so I might be wrong, but pretty sure this is what it is. So I'm just going to do Shift-Command-4 and grab a screenshot of this guy, since I'm thinking this is the before, and then Shift-Command-4 and grab this after and let go. Boy, I actually really like this redesign. I think, I think the before is it. He looks angry, and I don't really like the T, and this one I really don't like. So I like this guy the best. And it does look like they kind of went back to the bird idea. Interesting. All right, so let's get out of here and get into our InDesign. So what I would recommend is creating a new document. And then I would also say turn off facing pages and keep it letter, and then keep the orientation. I guess really it's up to you if you want it portrait or landscape. I'm going to do, well, what am I going to do? I think I'm going to do portrait. I suddenly had a feeling that maybe I should do landscape, but I'm going to do portrait. So and click OK. And let's move around a couple windows so a little bit easier to see. All right, so there's rumor has it that InDesign has been exceptionally finicky lately. It's not given me any issues, so I can't verify it. But if you are having issues with InDesign, like I've heard that people just can't get it open. So if that's you, just let me know, and I'm okay with it just being done in Word, if Word as a last resort. So just kind of know that that's an option. Okay, so we're going to save it as this. I'm just going to copy it so I don't have to type all that stuff. And go back in here. Okay, so save as, first, last. So remember, we're going to save it as a .indd, and then we'll export it as a PDF. Okay, so what we're going to do is work in our master pages. And basically what we're going to do is create almost like a worksheet or something that's going to show up on the background of each of our pages. And this will just really help because it means that we won't kind of have to recreate the same thing. So, keep organized by using your master sheets. So first thing I'm going to do, come over here, click on my T for type, and then just click and drag a box. And I'm going to write company name, colon. And then I'm going to change up my fonts. I have a feeling that everybody in the world has Minion Pro as their default, and it's one of my least favorite fonts. So I always try to get rid of it whenever possible. So I'd encourage you as well. Never use the defaults. Defaults are boring and will not make you stand out. Okay, so company name, and then I'm going to put another box down here, so you can type in, whatever the name is for your company that or logo, whatever's been redesigned, and then I'm just going to eyeball where I put the rest of this stuff. So I'm going to take this company name that I already have written out, just copy. So Command C, Command C, Command V. And I'm just going to drag it over. Leave enough space so it doesn't feel, so it doesn't feel cramped, but not too much space. I'm just going to drag it a little bit bigger, and then this is where your Word doc comes into play. So you open up your Word doc and grab each of the questions. So you can see, highlight my first question, Command C, and then input it into this first box. Get rid of that, bullet because that felt kind of weird. And then we're going to ignore the fact that Ruby's going to start barking. So we're going to copy that, paste it, drag it to the next spot. So I find that you can go through and change up each of the text boxes as you input it in, but sometimes it's just a lot easier to just copy and paste. So highlight, get rid of it, and then make the text box a little bit smaller. Okay, so copy, paste. And again, because you have typed your answers in Word, you kind of know like how much space you might need. So kind of keep that in mind as you're spacing these out. So if you feel like some of them are going to require a lot more words than others, then, you know, just make it a little bit wider as the space in between. So that. And the final one. And if you feel like you need a second page for one logo, that's, you know, fine as well. Okay, get that in there. Get rid of the bullet. So again, if you build these, it's going to be very, very soon become revealed as to why this takes a little bit less time, why this is a good idea. Okay. Okay, so once you have your stuff in place, oops, we're just going to come back through and put blank text boxes in. And again, kind of make them so they don't feel too cramped. Okay, and then copy, paste. And let's see, Nick says, some of us might have InDesign documents that we've already designed for these kind of projects. Can we use those, or should we keep it fairly plain? Oh yeah, no, you can use whatever you want. Yeah. Yeah, so this is just if you want to. Oops. You just have to have something InDesign-y, unless your InDesign really isn't working, in which case, then you can just do it in Word. But I would encourage everybody to do it this way, because this gives you some real practice. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Looks good. All right, so I'm just going to save it quickly. So Command S, and then we're going to go into the first page, and it's already there. We create 3 more pages. So if we create 3 more pages, you'll see that each of them shows up with the info already on it. And then you can, you know, go through and just input whatever you have. So one thing that is missing, which we're going to have to be a little bit clever about where we put it, is the before and the after for the logo. So we will get to that though, because as soon as I was looking at these, I was thinking, something's not going to work here with the sizing, but we will cleverly figure it out. And I'm sure you guys, you know, can figure that out as well. All right, so we have our text boxes that we've input into our master. Does anyone know how we actually get to them when we're on a page itself? So you see, you have this here and you're like, wait, I did it, but how do I put it in? And if I go back to the master, how does it not show up on every page? This is kind of the key thing. So does anybody have any ideas of what we might do to do that? Oops. Oh, why did my Zoom suddenly stop? Oh. Okay. All right. Well, now you're back in the. Now you're back up, hopefully seeing my screen. Okay, so Nick says right-click on the pages. I think there is an option there. Might be. But basically what you need to do is when you're on the page itself, you're just going to hold down Shift, hold down Command, and click. Or I'm sorry, Command and click on the box, and you should get access to the box itself. And then you can click on it and Toronto Blue Jays. You can click on it and it will activate. So then you can, you know, manipulate it, put font in, change the font, anything like that. So Shift Command click, and it unlinks it from the master page, and then you can, you know, kind of do whatever you want to with it. So it's very important that some text. It's very important that when you do the Shift Command click, that you're somewhere either on the side of, or so on the side of, so you know, on like a corner, or in the middle of whatever you want to activate. Just because if if you're not on it, it's not going to activate. So Shift Command click, and then you can double click in it, and then do your copy and pasting from Word for whatever you're showing. So pretty easy. Okay, so last but not least, I'm ignoring the fact that these are Minion. I could also set that in my master pages. What text shows up here, but we'll just leave it for now. So the last thing we're going to do is just the before and the afters for the logos. So you might need to be slightly creative as to where you put these. So I'm going to put mine actually up here. So wherever they seem like they make sense for you for your overall layout. So I'm going to come up here to File. So this is how everybody should be putting their images into InDesign. So File, Place, and click. And then here's the before. Click Open and drag a box, and your logo should show up inside of it. And I don't know if this is fitting very well, but that's okay. And we're going to go for the next one. So File, Place, and click on the next one, Open, and click and drag and let go. And then you should have the before, you should have the after. And I think it actually is a very good idea to label them as before and after, just so that you can know which one that you're actually looking at, profiling, that sort of thing. So I'm just gonna put it up here. So, all right, so we're gonna make this slightly smaller, this guy somewhat smaller, and then label it logo before, and let's do this one after. Princess says type before and after above or below them. Yeah, I actually like before and after better because obviously it's the logo. The whole point of these papers are the logo. Okay, so let's kind of line those up. Great thing about InDesign, it's just like Illustrator. Look for the little green lines that show up and kind of say, hey, why don't you put your element right here? Very helpful, very handy. All right, so you can see here I am now in kind of the layout mode. So if I just hit W on my keyboard, I'll go into the print preview mode, and it just helps kind of see how it's overall laying out. And so once you're in this look, you can kind of just gauge how your text is filling up the space, kind of how generally it's fitting, and where or how you might need to kind of adjust what you're doing. So I can see that I feel like my layout's kind of not that great overall, but it's okay. It's getting it's getting there. So I'd probably play with it just a little bit more. But yeah, so when you're all done, save it up, and final step, come to File, Export, and then just make sure your format says Adobe PDF print. So if it doesn't, for whatever reason, just click on your little down arrow and find print, and then click save. And then when you see this whole scheme of options, just click export as well, and it should do its thing. And then what I always like to do, and Princess, I'll answer that question in just one second, but what I always like to do is after I export, just check out what it actually looks like. So I just come to wherever I've exported it to, which in this case would be my desktop, and then just click on it, and then hit spacebar so I can just see what it looks like and look through the different pages. So nothing, but just to kind of see what's happening. Oh man, I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, why did I not do it landscape? I think landscape might lay out better, but we shall see. We shall see what you guys come up with in your in your own brilliance. Okay, so Princess says, how do I change facing pages? So you can either set facing pages or no facing pages when you start your documents. So when you're doing new, you can see here it says facing pages and the box is checked. So you can just uncheck it, and that will give you unfacing pages. So just kind of pages like I have individually. And the benefit of that is it's just easier to work with. And if you're not designing a book, you don't really need a book or a magazine. You don't really need facing pages. So once you already have your document created, this is something that actually took me forever to learn. I used to create things with facing pages and then realize I didn't want them. And so I'd have to like create new documents and copy and paste. Very inefficient of me. But then one day I learned that if you just come up to File, Document Setup, you can just come to your document setup and then see this box where it says facing pages and either check it or not. So, if you want them to be facing, you just check it. If you don't, you just uncheck it. So File, Document Setup, and uncheck it, and then click OK. So, yeah. And yeah, no, I totally agree with Nick. Yeah. It was something that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize there was a way to change that midstream, but it's nicer. And I feel like it's just easier a lot of times to design sequentially as opposed to in spreads, because, my brain thinks more like that so much. So, all right. So that is the assessment. So if you're watching along via video and you have any questions about kind of how to find things or where to find things, or how you should be doing this, feel free to just let me know. And one more thing that might be of use to people is that we also have our great friend Wanda Bryant, who is she's not in the Student Success Center today, but she is in the Student Success Center Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And she's good at English as well, writing stuff. So if you want to, pop in to just see a learning coach and have them, kind of proofread for you, or, check your answers or something like that, more than likely she would be very, very willing to help. And I will say it's always good practice, whether you're like, I've got this down or not, just have somebody else read what you've written, because it's amazing how often when you write something, you like skip a word, or you put in the wrong word, or you misspell a common word. There's a ton of stuff that you don't see because you've written it, and so your brain always kind of like auto corrects. But then when other people read it, they're like, wait, I don't know if you really meant that. So if you don't have Wanda, check your work for you or something. Just have like a friend, a family member, someone who you can say like, can you just take 3 minutes and read this for me? Because it's very, 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 very important that you get used to not having spelling and grammatical errors in your work. That's like the instant unprofessional red flag, is if stuff like that comes up. So, just kind of build a practice of just having somebody check out what you're doing, so that you can get a good take on things. All right, so we're going to get out of here. And it looks like 3:01 my time, so we are just about ready to take a break. Let's see, Princess says, I don't trust me. Yes, yeah, no. I don't think anyone should trust themselves on the first pass, just because I think that everybody tends to kind of blur over potential stuff that they might be misspelling. All right, so we're going to take about 10 minutes again of break time. So if you're watching, oh yes, so if you're watching via video, you can feel free to, speed us up, or watch the magic unfold on the whiteboard, whatever that might be, however that might happen. And then we will return in a bit. All right. Well, unfortunately, um, I'm going to have to um, transition away from the attack of the killer shapes of cuteness and bunnies and sharp lines and things. Um, we're gonna have to get back into our session. But I love this. This is actually a very good segue because we're gonna pick up where we left off in yesterday's session and really talk about sketches and the whole sketching process, why it's important in the logo in the logo design process, and just what that entails. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop sharing, but great job collaborating. Boy, if I brought up the whiteboard again, I wonder if it would still be there if it goes away. Let's see if it, oh no, look at that, it's there. Wow, interesting. All right, yeah, so anybody can take a screenshot. All right, so let's jump into desktop. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to be able to collaborate in real time visually. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. All right, so we're going to talk about, yeah, then you can make fun stories, exactly. So then we're going to talk about design process, kind of what that looks like, what that entails, that sort of thing. So as we said in yesterday's session, and then we repeated this time, that first you ask a lot of questions, most likely of your client, and next you ask a lot of questions, most likely of yourself. And that kind of that back and forth kind of way things unwind is really all part of the graphic design process. So these are the kind of 6 steps of design process that you guys have probably encountered within other um, other courses. So 6 steps are visual research, sketching, refining, revising, presenting, and then finally, once everything's all finished, once everything's all done, celebrating that you have emerged kind of on the other side. So again, lots of designers kind of follow some version of these different steps whenever they're creating just about anything. So you will probably find that the more you kind of work in design, the more you do stuff, especially do stuff professionally, the more you'll kind of find your own flow of these. But most likely you will, have some version of this as you're going along. So in yesterday's session, we went over the first element of this, which would be visual research. So we hopped into Pinterest. We kind of looked at keywords. We looked at kind of inspirations around it. We looked at logos, all that stuff. And then we kind of use that as a start of our inspiration. So next step is going to be sketching. And this is also kind of a key part to our assignment for this week as well. So power of sketching is really in the fact that you do get to explore, just lots of different options, lots of different ideas. And they're just very quick, kind of low stakes ways to think about, fonts you might use, or layouts that you might use, alignment you might use, just all sorts of stuff like that. So sketching, I think, gets a little bit of a bad rap in that people hear sketching and think, I'm not an artist, I can't draw, I can't do sketches. You kind of just don't understand what sketching is. Sketching is, not really meant to be anything very pretty, anything very, finalized. It's just meant to be very kind of rough, and it's more like a thinking process than kind of an artistic process. So it just kind of lets you have some freedom to explore some ideas and such. So Nick says, if you saw what I sketched yesterday, it has nothing to do with skill. Yeah, and I mean, that was kind of you have no skill. But yes, that was, a very good example of kind of a low stakes type thing. So basically what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is rather just open up Illustrator. And do I have it open? Oh, hey, look, I'll take you all back to my launch pad. Open up Illustrator, and inspired by Nick, as he was doing yesterday, just kind of show how we can do a little bit of sketching within Illustrator as an option as well, to just kind of think out different ideas. So you can sketch on paper with a pen or pencil. I think that is a very good practice as well. I was actually going to show you that via webcam, but then I thought this might actually be even more fun, because it's something that everybody can do, and it's kind of a low stakes thing, and it just gets you, in the software a bit more as well. So let's give it a go, see what happens. All right, so here's my assignment, or here's my Illustrator open. But here's also the different logo folders. This is what I downloaded from the assignment. And so what I'm going to do is just open up this logo 5. So if you all remember, Break of Day Bagel Cafe is my chosen client, probably because I'm a little bit hungry, and I was also yesterday, so I guess that's kind of leaning into my choices in some ways. So I would recommend that you look at these, you look at the company keywords, you look at kind of the color requests, and you kind of use that as your starting point. So you can see, what's the company all about. So read the little overview. This is Breakfast and Brunch Cafe in Montana. They make bagels, campers. Well, they don't make campers. They make bagels for campers and hikers. So it's wildernessy, it's natural. And then you can see here, fresh, healthy, hearty, socially responsible, environmentally friendly, community focused. So kind of, read these keywords, and just kind of like let them, kind of percolate in your own mind. What does it say to you? What does it feel like? What does it kind of speak to you? And there's no wrong answers at this point. So just kind of explore and see what happens. So we're going to open up a document in Illustrator, and I'm just going to do a letter size. It doesn't really matter what size you do. And actually, if you saw Nick's work yesterday, he was working in like individual art boards, which I think was quite smart as well. He did 10 by 10. Yeah. So I'm going to do this. And what you can do is just grab your paintbrush. I think Princess had mentioned the pen tool. You could actually sketch with the pen tool, but I feel like it's a little, I feel like you have to, it's too much thinking for me. So in theory, you could, but I'm going to just use the brush. And then what you do is, just kind of start thinking in your mind. So bagel cafe, nature. I still can't get the thought of that like coffee and bagel looking down idea. So that has nothing to do with nature, but I'm going to try that. So, think, okay, you look down, you see the coffee, you see the bagel, and then, how could I identify this is like a coffee cup? So maybe you have the top of a mug that's coming out, and, maybe it goes on a saucer. That might be kind of cool. And then, here's where the text would go. So, see, Break of Day Bagel Cafe. It's a really long text, so maybe there'd have to be, oops, stick that, maybe like here. So basically, I'm drawing boxes where I think I would put my text. And that's just to kind of block out in my mind, mentally, how would it lay out. And so, a sketch, essentially. So I'm just going to come over here and just change up my artboard a little bit so it kind of filters together. So it looks like I basically just made a sandwich. Kind of interesting. See what happens. So I just made a sketch. So I'm coming into the next. So I created a new artboard. So just click on the artboard tool, create new artboard. So now I'm going to get my brush out again. And that didn't turn out nearly as cool as I was thinking. So maybe I can do something with, like, I'm still kind of on the coffee cup idea. So maybe a coffee cup this way and a bagel kind of looking like a, I don't know why you would put a bagel in a coffee cup, but I feel there's something there. Okay, so and so look at this. I mean, it's nothing, nothing that great. A saucer, does it need a saucer? Maybe it does. Now it suddenly looks like a hat, but who knows? So I have the bagel here. So now I'm thinking about, I'm thinking I actually really hate that saucer. So I can just select it, erase it, kind of like if I were doing this by pencil, I would erase it using my pencil. So I have the bagel kind of going this way. So what if I had the text kind of like balancing it out this way, so I could run the text in kind of like that. So it'd be like a half circle. That might be interesting. Okay, so next one, artboard, create new artboard. Okay, so I'm gonna get my blank one. So in my own mind, I'm thinking, okay, I think I maybe exhausted that coffee cup bagel idea. Well, actually, maybe I haven't. I just thought of another idea. So this is the thing, like, as you're doing these sketches, like literally less than a minute on each of them, but as you're kind of putting it together, your mind is kind of like scrolling through potential ideas, things that you could possibly try, things that you haven't maybe thought of before. So I'm going to have a bagel. This is going to be like ultimate hipster. A mountain, a coffee cup with this, and like a tent. Then I'm going to have like an X coming through it. And maybe these will be like little arrows. And going through here, and going through here. And so line quality doesn't matter, alignment, nothing matters except you kind of just getting ideas out. All right, so break of the bagel. Man, this is killing me with how long this text is, but it's okay. Okay, so maybe we'll put it over here, and we might need to have one more line down here. Okay, so bagel, tent. Is that a tent? That looks like a teepee. Mountain, coffee mug. Looks like food for hiking. And I kind of like it, so I'm just gonna move it up a little bit. Oops. Okay, so I got three sketches so far. I would, in theory, continue on with these, but I'm thinking you guys kind of get the idea of what's happening. So new artboard, try some sketches, try some things, just see what works using your brush tool, or you could even use your pencil tool. So the key thing is for these, just get them out quickly and just explore ideas, and just keep on asking yourself kind of what if, I think in the chat box there's something scrolling like, what if it was a bagel wearing a sweatband? Like, why not? What if it was a mountain made out of bagels? What if it was, a bagel wearing a backpack? What sort of things could you do that, that you could do for this? And at this point where you're in the sketching mode, you don't need to, don't edit yourself. Don't say, oh, I don't know, should I try it? I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't know if I can do it. Just don't do any of that stuff. Just say, okay, let's try it. And if it looks terrible, so what, it looks terrible. Like, no, there's like zero stakes right now that you have to think about. So really, you know, try anything, see what works, you know, see what doesn't work. I think that with any design project, you have to get through all the ideas that aren't good before you find the good ones. And the only way that you're going to get through those ideas is if you actually do it. If you just sit and think about it, you're never going to be able to really tell if they're good or not. So you have to kind of work through that. So, and Nick says, embrace failure as fast as possible to find the good ideas. Exactly. Okay, so once you get through this part, you know, we've done we've effectively lost the slides, but it's okay. So you've done the sketching, you know, you've done your visual research, you kind of help set the stage. Next, we move into step 3, which is the refining stage. So we will also be in step 3 for this assignment, so refining. So basically what you do during the refining stage is you ask yourself why. And you ask yourself why probably about a million different times, because you really need to see what it is that you're doing, see what it is that you're making, and even more see why you're making those choices and see if they're the best ones that they can be for your piece. So in your refining, you really look at your sketches, and then you say, why is this happening? Why am I using this? You know, why is this going on? And even more, could it be better? So I'm going to come back to my sketches and take a look here. And so I'm looking at my 3 directions and trying to figure out which one is strongest. Clearly, I think I still need a couple more options because at the moment I don't think any of them are that strong, but that's why we're doing at least 9, why we're not stopping at 3. But what I'm going to go with right now is this one, since I think this might be the strongest. Of course, I really do like this one as well. I guess let's do this one anyway, because I think this one might work. All right, so we're going to go with this one. And to refine it, basically what it means is we're going to open up another Illustrator file and we're going to recreate it in a more polished way. So I'm going to come over here to File Open, or File New, sorry. And again, it doesn't really matter what size your document is. I think I'll go with a square because you can always drag and change your artboard. Ooh, wow, apparently I'm going with many squares. Huh. Didn't see that coming, but that's okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is just grab my original sketch. And because I have it in a computer format, this is easy. I'm just going to copy it. And because I have about 20 different artboards open, I'm just going to paste it on one. So basically the idea here is that this is like if you have your pencil sketch, you would have it next to you as you were moving into the computer to create kind of a more refined version of it. So just like that, I'm just putting the digital version right next to me. So I can kind of look at how I can use the tools in Illustrator to create this in a way that just feels a little bit more kind of finalized and such. See, Princess wanted to know if it was okay to use an image that was allowed to be reused, trace with the pen tool, then delete the original image. Oh yeah, that's totally fine. Okay, so I'm looking at this thinking, how can I create it using actual Illustrator stuff? So bagels, mountains, and tents, those all happen to be shapes, and that's very good. All right, so I'm going to try putting a bagel up here and maybe making it slightly larger. And then polygons, I want it to be 3-sided. So as I'm doing this, boy, I think the bagel could almost look like a moon or something. As I'm doing this, I'm also kind of asking myself mentally, why are you doing this, Lisa? Why do you feel the need to have, you know, all these different elements, all these different parts coming together? You know, is this too much for a logo? And at the moment, my answer to myself is nope. I think it's going to be great. But the more complicated I make these mountains, the more I'm like, huh, I wonder if I really want to do this, which is which is the beauty of this refinement step, because as you're putting it together, you know, it's not like you stop having new ideas. You kind of play with how you're combining things and the creativity that's happening. And you see kind of what's happening. And so Nick says a bagel moon. I'm like, I know, hello. Why would we not want to try that? So I'm going to shift again. So here's my original sketch. And then suddenly I'm saying, forget that sketch. Let me see if I can, you know, do something even more different. Well, not forget the original sketch, because I might go back to it as well, but just see, you know, see how this might work. So it's in design, in the creative process, it really is, okay, so that's 4 points. I want those to be the same weight. It really is about, you know, just trying and see what happens, and kind of embracing some new ideas, embracing some new stuff. And if it's not working, you know, having the ability to say, actually, that's not nearly as cool as I thought it was going to be, but, you know, giving it a shot anyway to see what happens. All right, so now we have to figure out what our text is going to be. So let's see, Princess says, what if you drew them good already? Well, you still have to ask yourself, you know, kind of why, and if it was, you know, as good as you thought it was. Do you have to redo them? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have to see what you think about, you know, what you have. You have to have 3 versions that you say, you know, these are my refined versions. So regardless of, you know, whether you do quick sketches or whether you're, you know, kind of starting at the computer with computer shapes from the beginning, you have to have 3 that feel more finished than the others, or 3 in addition to the others. So, okay, so the company keywords: fresh, healthy, hearty, socially responsible, environmentally friendly, community focused. So I'm thinking in my mind, what kind of font says these different things? So I'm kind of scrolling through possibilities. I don't know, we'll see. So read your company keywords, and then think about what fonts you have. Oops. Think about if you can get back into your Illustrator. Think about what fonts you have and what might say those different qualities. So the great thing about Illustrator, any of the Adobe products, is that they give you all of these samples of what the type looks like. So I'm thinking adventurous, outdoorsy, kind of campy. I'm actually thinking this is a great one, but I think that's what they use. So we're gonna stay away from what they use, since they want a complete redesign. They don't want you, you know, taking what they've got and just remixing it. So it's always good practice. Look through your font book, and then immediately ignore anything like Comic Sans, Papyrus, Rosewood, anything that anything that might be deeply overdone. You don't want to do that. Let's see. I know actually what I want. It's one of these guys up here. So I would like to do this one, Apex Serif. And basically what I'm thinking is it's a serif font. So I feel like serif fonts they kind of have that sense of strength and stability. They kind of have that natural, friendly, warm look. I just like them, so we're going to try that. So break of day. Break day. So I'm just putting the text in. And, oops. Bagel Cafe, is that what the title is? Yes, Bagel Cafe. Okay. So, see how that is? Okay, so I got my type in there. and I'm starting to refine it a bit more. So, you know, how does it look if it's in all caps? I think that feels a little bit too much like it's shouting. Of course, maybe it doesn't. What would it be if it was in lowercase? So as you're in the refining process, you know, you just have to look at your options and assess your options and see what might work, and see what might work kind of on a hierarchy level too. So right now, Bagel Cafe feels very important. Break of Day does not. So I think it's because it's all in uppercase. So how can I kind of style and put this font together? And so again, everything, you're always asking yourself, you know, why am I doing this? Why do I think this is a good choice? And doesn't seem to be working as well as I thought it did. Let's see. Nick says, with it being Break of Day, I'd say the bagel's less of a moon, more of a sun, I'd say. Yeah, is it more of a sun? Should it be like behind something, kind of like peeking out? The sun rising over the mountain. So again, you know, you're just constantly thinking in your head, like, what should I do? Range, bring that to the front. So I continue making this. Yeah, have it peaking above. Yeah, kind of cool. And I feel like, I don't know if you guys are feeling this too, but I feel like my font and my mountains really aren't going together as well as I thought they would. Like my mountains feel so like streamlined and clean, and my font feels a little like old. So, and that's, you know, again, I wouldn't have known that had I not been asking myself constantly why. All right, so rather than getting rid of it altogether, I'm just going to copy it, paste it to this next artboard. This is actually kind of a gift that I have so many artboards open because I don't actually have to delete. I can just copy and paste, try something new, and then I can go back and compare what it might be with what it was. Maybe kind of cool. Oof, that looks nothing like it. Now have snow. Actually, okay, we're gonna go with this, and then we're gonna try something else and see what happens. That was Daybus new. Okay, so I feel like that feels more in agreement with the font altogether. Okay, Nick says need a more straightforward font. Sans serif. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool. Okay, so what I noticed as I was going through my, so now I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste. What I noticed as I was going through my fonts is that when I went to Bauhaus, there's kind of something in this that feels like bagels to me. And I don't know what I think it's, well, I was gonna say, I don't know what it is, but I do, it's the O. It's the O and kind of the rounded nature of each of these letters. So that's kind of a cool thing. I kind of like, yeah, I like the feel, I like what it's doing. So I'm going to check out, you know, could I actually, why couldn't I just make this, you know, maybe a word mark logo? So it would be exclusively, just exclusively text, wouldn't have to have any images with it. Might be kind of a cool idea. So I feel like I need like a really kind of squat typeface to go with it, to pair with it. I don't know if I have anything that's of that nature. Let's see, Nick says, or one image replacing it with a bagel. Yeah, I think that'd be so cool. But yes, yeah, so, I mean, it's just, as you work, you're kind of going through and you're working in a way that you're keeping your eyes very open. Ooh, kind of cool. That actually looks like it almost could be a bagel too. But I'm picturing something a little bit more squat, but we shall see. Okay, so we won't do this for too much longer, since I'm sure you're like, oh my goodness, what is she doing? But it just shows you that, I mean, it's super fun, and it's just, you never quite know what you're going to do and what's going to come, you know, what's going to come out of it. Yeah, I really don't like that. man, I'm just looking for something with like a super, a kind of a super low X height, but I don't have quite what I need yet. In which case I'd have to, you know, do some looking around, but I'm looking at the same ones thinking that there's going to be something I haven't seen. I know that there's not, but that's kind of cool. Jordana, Universe, Unicode. Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay, well, anyway, so the whole process of refining is you never quite know where you're going to go. So here's my sketch. So it bounced to this, then it bounced to this, then it bounced to this. So like you never quite know where you're going to end up and how it's going to kind of impact and morph and come together in a good way. So all that to say, for this assignment, you need to have three, oops, it's the assessment. Let me get back to the correct page. So you need to have 9 sketches. This is practically, you know, what do you need to turn in? So 9 sketches, and then you need to have 3 further refined black and white versions of logos that you feel are promising. And I'm going to kind of leave that up to you what that looks like, mostly because you guys saw that, excuse me, here were my sketches. So here's, you know, 3 of 9 essentially. And then I picked this was number 1, but then I, you know, started refining it, and in theory I could just turn in these 3 as my further refined, because it started with 1 sketch, but who's to say, you know, what it's going to morph into, and, you know, how it's going to shift and change along the way. So do your 9, do your then, you know, do your 3, and, you know, have them be further refined. So whatever that means, you know, know that I'm going to be fairly loose in kind of seeing what happens, what the creative output is. So should be good. All right, so important things to note. Make sure that you are only working in black and white, so no color at this point. And then also make sure that you are saving everything. Princess says, what about gray? I would discourage use of gray. You can do it, but think about if it's exclusively black and white, you know, if it was printed in an exclusively black and white way, you'd be a little tricky with gray. So avoid gray if possible, but if you have some sneak in, it's okay, but kind of keep that in mind. All right, so when you're all finished, you are going to submit, yes. I said yes so quickly. Maybe, mostly because I have another meeting I have to get to at 4, so I don't know if I'm going to really have time. But I'll definitely take a look at what you sent me via email, and I'll get back to you. About that. Okay. So important thing is put this in a PDF format. And again, this is where you can be a little bit creative in how you do it. So you can just put them all within one Illustrator file, and then just save it as a PDF, and it will turn into a multi-page PDF. Or you could put it into an InDesign file and then export it that way, and kind of have it be a PDF in that way. So whatever, kind of however you've created it, it's kind of up to you as to how you're going to present it. So what I need to see, which you can see in the comments, or I'm sorry, in the rubric, is I need to see your exploratory sketches, I need to see your refined logos, and I need to see that you have your keywords. So that's just basically copying and pasting the keywords from the file into your piece. So, you know, there's kind of evidence of those as well. So yeah, it should be good. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have. So like I told Princess, for anybody who is watching via video and just wants to get kind of like a heads up on what they're doing or something, you can feel free to send me anything in process, and I will gladly give you some kind of in process feedback and just kind of give some more ideas and things about what's going on, kind of how it's working, what feels good, what doesn't, that sort of thing, and that's totally fine. Just let me know via email. Other than that, thanks guys for a great first week of class. I think we're going to have really a lot of fun together, which is amazing. And I think also, perhaps even better, you all are going to come out with some great work. I can feel it. I feel like it's going to be a good exploration all around. All right, so just a reminder, Design Club starts at 5 p.m. Mountain Time today, which is Wednesday. So hopefully you all can make it. Hopefully we'll snag a couple of people who haven't even been able to make it to class yet, and they will pop into Design Club. But otherwise, look forward to seeing you all next week for our next sessions. And take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Where do I want the keywords? Probably in the PDF would be good that you're turning in. So just like as another page, I'd say. Mm-hmm. On the sketches, no, they can be on their own sheet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.